It is Thursday, February 17th. This is Jaguars Happy Hour. And now, two-time gold medal winning half-pipe, stovepipe, tailpipe, drainpipe, windpipe, bagpipe, and pipe dope, J.P. Shadrick.
That's a long list. Welcome in. It's Jaguars Happy Hour on a Thursday afternoon. My name's J.P. Shadrick. We have a busy hour ahead. Jaguars analyst Jeff Lageman returns to the show. That's the top line, of course. Coaching staff announcement earlier today. We'll break down some of the names who have joined the staff. 22 coaches. I feel like that's cut in half from last year. Boselli's Hall of Fame reaction. We'll get some of the thoughts from the big fella from last week. That story's not going away either. That'll go all the way through August, of course. And we'll go around the National Football League and our thoughts on Super Bowl 56, some of the news that has come out around the league since then. Jeff Lageman joining us now here in studio. We're sweating to the oldies today in here, Logs. It's a little warm here in the office, but good to see you. How you doing?
Man, yeah. What happened to the HVAC unit? And I'm not talking about the H part.
Yeah, it's a work in progress. That's okay. It's one of those, but
it's all good.
Hey, it's good to see you. You were gone last week,
yeah,
but you're back at it.
It's good to be seen, to be honest with you.
Agree with that.
That means that we're all above ground, so that's positive.
Excellent.
And a lot has happened since the last time that we spoke. And I can tell you that last Thursday I celebrated, I think, with a lot of people did in Jacksonville, with the announcement that Tony Boselli was inducted into the Hall of Fame.
It's a long time coming. We've been talking about it for years and years,
yeah.
And we'll get into this a little more in depth coming up in a little while. But just to see the reaction on his face, the family's face, that's what made it special for me, at least.
Well, and I think I take it to another level because I saw and read some of Leon Searcy's comments, and that we all kind of go in with him. And really we do in some respects because, you know, Tony was our teammate, and we've always been a big fan of Tony's. We have always thought very highly of him as a player. And I've said this before, there's only a couple players that in my career that I actually would go to the sideline and then return to watch somebody on the offensive side of the ball. Mm-hmm. And Tony was that guy. I did it early in my career a little bit with Freeman McNeil because Freeman McNeil was such a gifted runner, and I used to love how he could be running parallel to the line of scrimmage and then plant his foot, and then at 100 miles an hour, same speed, he was running parallel, he's running north and south. And I thought that was a special gift. Al Toon, who was on his way to having a Hall of Fame type of career until the concussion issue that he sustained cut his career short. Mm-hmm. I was on the same field watching Ronnie Lott. Mm-hmm. And I used to sit there and marvel and watch the film of Ronnie Lott because I would be watching myself, but then I would want to watch Ronnie Lott.
Where is he at? Right.
Art Monk, mm-hmm. who I had the opportunity to play with for 1 year in New York, who came to us. I used to love watching how Art Monk conducted himself and how he practiced. He was the epitome of excellence. With Tony, I've got so many different stories.
Yeah, right.
From when he came in as a young pup to, the first game that he ever played, I'll never forget it because he was, as a rookie, had the knee issue because I hurt him.
I remember this story. Yes, you decided to.
Pretty simple story. We're in Stevens Point, Wisconsin, and we're doing one-on-one pass rush drills, and it's a little wet out, and I do a bull rush on Tony. He hurts the knee, and the franchise is headed in a downward spiral because Tony hurt a knee. Well, they put him on Wayne Weaver's jet and find out that he's got to have a fix. They fixed the knee. His first game back ever as a rookie was against the Green Bay Packers right here at home, and it was against a defensive end that was Sean Jones. Sean Jones was one of the best defensive ends in all of football. And so when I came to the sideline and Tony was out on the field against Sean Jones, I couldn't wait to watch him play.
Yeah, right.
And he kicked the snot out of Sean Jones. It was no different than the playoff game in '96, going to Buffalo. You couldn't wait to watch the matchup against Bruce Smith. And to watch Tony kick the snot out of Bruce Smith.
Yeah.
Watching Tony battle Mike McCrary every year a couple times. I mean, these were monumental matchups that you just, as a teammate of his, you couldn't wait to watch. And that's very rare. I mean, here's the thing, JP.
Yeah.
Not many defensive linemen are going to break out the popcorn, okay, a.k.a. Terrell Owens, break out the popcorn to watch an offensive lineman.
That's right, yeah.
There's only been a couple guys in my career that I ever did that with. Tony Boselli was one of them. Larry Allen was another one because he was so dominant.
Yeah.
And I can't remember another that I literally would pay the price of admission to watch.
The one I like is, and we'll get into the Boselli stuff now. We'll get to the coaching staff announced. That's coming up a little bit later here on Jaguars Happy Hour now. But the one I liked was, I think Derek Thomas had 5 or 6 sacks one week. The next week, the Jaguars are playing the Kansas City Chiefs. And I think they asked Tom Coughlin, hey, are you going to help Boselli? No. He's going to line up one-on-one on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, no big deal. And shut him out. I mean, didn't have a sack in that next game. And now, speed guy, a little different. Tony's a massive human being, but from 5 or 6 sacks one week to 0, and he was he's in the Hall of Fame too.
Yeah, Tony was an incredibly smart offensive lineman in that he knew what the strength was. I mean, much like people talk about Bill Belichick taking away the strength of an offense. As an offensive lineman, you're facing pass rushers that have strengths. Derek Thomas, get off, outside speed rush. That was his strength. Mm-hmm. And so for Tony was inviting him to essentially to try to run him over because Tony wasn't fearful of Derek Thomas's power. What you had to be scared of was his speed. And when you faced Reggie White, power. Mm-hmm. Reggie White, the hump move. I mean, but Tony was always very aware of what a defensive lineman's strength was and what their weakness was. And so he adapted, I think, in a lot of ways, his game against players based on what that was. And you hear Tony talk all the time about J.J. Watt. Many people look at J.J. Watt in his heyday now as being this powerful, strong guy. And Tony always say, that's not J.J. Watt. J.J. Watt's, you need to fear his shake. Because he doesn't use his power a whole lot. Well, most offensive linemen got into trouble with JJ because they thought he was a power guy.
And he would just go around him.
But that's what made Tony smart. You know, when I would try to go against Tony in practice, one of my better moves, I didn't have any great moves, but one of my better moves was to knock the hands down. I called it the Karate Kid wax on, wax off kind of thing. And it used to drive me crazy because Tony would pass set and then either pull his hands away at that time or he would hide them and not give them to you and then shoot them at the last second because he knew that was the move that I had. And so, I mean, as a pass rusher, that was frustrating because he was aware of what your strength was and he could adapt his pass set, his pass protection to accommodate any pass rusher to benefit him. And on top of that, he had a nastiness that I think a lot of offensive linemen today do not have. And he liked to finish guys. And when I say finish guys, he would finish guys. He was a lot of fun to watch. And I'm proud for him, proud of him, happy for him and his family. It's well deserved, and it's pretty cool. 71 is going to be in the Hall. Here's the thing.
Yes.
They better get some more clay to make that bust.
We talked about that. Yes.
He's got a big head.
They might have to expand.
When I say
the
big
hall.
head physically, like literally, if you measured it, he's got a one of the biggest. I think they had to order a special helmet for him, like in '95.
Wow. How about that? Breaking news.
Yeah, just because he's in a hall doesn't mean we're going to stop.
It's only just begun.
Busting his chops.
That's right.
You know.
Let's hear from Tony. We caught up with him the day after the announcement, NFL honors this past Thursday. The announcement came down that he was elected to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He sat down with us on Friday morning. And what did it mean to have the family so much involved?
Yeah, it was. To me, that's the fun part, JP. It's the moments. Because I mean, being a Hall of Famer is huge. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's amazing. But the special things for me were the moments I got to share with people I love, and with my wife, and my kids and my close friends. That's what matters in life. And there's been so many already, and that's what I've really enjoyed about the process.
So the one person that was not around, obviously, for this was his father, who passed away last year, missed it by a year. But from what we saw in the reports after the private dinner after the fact Thursday night, they actually recorded a message from his dad before he passed away, like 2 weeks before he died. And that was part of the presentation this past Thursday night out in L.A., and really good tribute there. But that's the one person that was missing. But just seeing the glow on the faces of the kids, they're really hyped up and excited, about all this happening finally for their dad.
Well, and it's incredible, and it's going to be a kind of a whirlwind, I think, for Tony from the point last week until the induction actually happens, and I just it's a cool situation, not just for him and his family, but I think it's a great moment for the franchise. For the franchise to finally have a guy in the Hall of Fame, I think it's incredibly huge.
I think it's bigger than a lot of people might realize right now, because you finally have somebody in there, and yes, it could start and open the door for some others in the years to come, but to finally have somebody in that room of just under 400 of the greatest football players of all time, that is a cornerstone, milestone achievement for the franchise.
Well, and also I think it's great because it is Tony, and in a lot of respects, I don't think there can be a better ambassador for Jacksonville, the franchise, but then also Jacksonville, the city. I mean, Tony came back to the city after being gone for quite some time, and he loves this place. He loves this franchise. He loves the city. He wants to live here, and he's raised his family here. And that, I think, is very important. And hopefully he paves the way for two other guys that are worthy, which is Fred Taylor and Jimmy Smith. And I think those two guys, if you looked at them just from a performance standpoint, simply one of the best two players in the era, and they're very, very deserving as well.
Have you been to Canton since the Hall of Fame game in '95?
No, I have not. I went there twice. 95 was the last year, which was the year in which the Jaguars and then the Panthers played.
Both expansion franchises.
That was the expansion year.
Yep.
And then in a previous year, when I was with the Jets, we were there because that was the year that John Riggins was inducted into the Hall of Fame, which John got his start in professional football with the New York Jets, I believe.
Got it.
And obviously made his fame about the Washington Redskins. Yeah. But I don't know this, but I hope that from our standpoint that the Jaguars are playing in the Hall of Fame game. And I don't know if this is going to happen. For most organizations, they don't want anything to do with the Hall of Fame game.
Sure.
Because it's an extra preseason game that most coaches and players don't want to have on their docket when they're getting ready for the regular season, especially nowadays when the emphasis has certainly been taken away from the preseason. But I think it would be really cool, not just because Tony is going in, but also a Jacksonville native is going in. And
Leroy Butler. Man.
Yeah, and
fantastic.
And so I think it would be cool in that aspect. Now we'll have to wait and see if that does happen, but I hope so, because you know what? Then it ensures that we're going to be there.
Yeah, it's true. That would be really cool. And I guess we can ask Doug Peterson this tomorrow. If that were the case, you get 2 extra weeks of training camp. You don't think the new coaching staff wants 2 extra weeks around these guys?
Well, it wouldn't be 2 extra weeks. It would be 1 extra week.
Either way.
Right.
They lost 2 OTAs because of the rules broken in this past offseason, right? So why not get
not Doug Peterson's fault.
That's right, but that's the hand they're dealt. So why not get some more time? That would be, I think, really cool. It's going to be a cool week anyway in Canton. But if you have the game on Thursday and then the enshrinement ceremony on Saturday, that's a full week, and that would be fun.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope we get to be there, and I will be there if I can be there, regardless of whether the Jaguars are there or not.
I think that speaks for all of us. Yeah. Let's come back in a moment. Coaching staff announced today, Logs. We've got a lot of names to go through. Mm-hmm. A lot of guys to meet.
I like this staff. First of all, I'm a big fan of the Doug Peterson hiring. I wish it had happened sooner, but I really like that he is the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's exactly what this franchise needed at this point in history. And I look forward to talking with him tomorrow.
All right, Daly's Play schedule starting to really ramp up now after around March. We'll get things going with AEW Dynamite March 2nd, then April. Here we go. Brothers Osborne, Lil Durk on the 19th of April, Tim McGraw May 5th, Erica Badu, Goody Mob at that show as well, May 6th. Tickets at dailiesplace.com. They got 2 dates with the full Dave Matthews Band coming up later. 2 dates of Keith Urban. I mean, there's some big-time shows coming up at
Dave
Dailies.
Matthews Band's good now.
Big time.
Yeah,
that's
really good.
That's an arena, almost stadium show at times. It's going to be at Dailies Place, so get your tickets now. Some of those shows not on sale yet. They'll go on sale very soon. Back in a moment. Coaching staff talk when we return. It's Jaguars Happy Hour on the Jaguars Digital Network.
Jaguars Happy Hour is brought to you by Dreamfinders Homes, homes that fit your lifestyle. And by Baptist Health, changing healthcare for good.
Hi, I'm Tito Beverage, founder and master distiller at Tito's Handmade Vodka. In 1997, we became the first micro distillery in the state of Texas, and we're still making the same smooth stuff after all these years. We're still cooking in a pot still, working with our dogs by our sides, having fun and tasting batches, and I'm still wearing the same hat, even after all these years. Head over to Tito'sVodka.com to learn more about what else we're doing the same. Cheers. 80 proof Tito's Handmade Vodka, distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. Tito'sVodka.com.
Your family isn't like anyone else's. Your home shouldn't be either. At Dreamfinders Homes, you can build the home of your dreams in one of their 30-plus communities in Northeast Florida. Choose from luxury single-family homes or maintenance-free townhomes from the 200s. Dreamfinders specializes in homes built to fit your lifestyle. To find out more, call 904-738-0165 or visit dreamfindershomes.com.
In America, the future belongs to everyone. So we built the trucks of the future for everyone. Ford F-Series, America's best-selling trucks for 44 years straight. Built for performance and capability on and off-road. Because the trucks of the future aren't built for a few. They're built for America. Ford F-Series. Drive one today. Based on 1977 to 2020 calendar year total sales.
Shopping Publix with delivery and curbside pickup powered by Instacart makes getting your groceries more convenient than ever. It's basically the best thing since sliced bread, which you can order from the Publix bakery. You can also get fresh meats and cheeses from the deli, delicious produce, and Publix premium ice cream, all without having to leave your couch or car. Orders are available in as little as 2 hours. Prices vary from in-store. Fees, tips, and taxes may apply. Subject to terms and availability. Visit Publix.com/shop. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Are you suffering from shoulder pain? If you have clicking and popping in the shoulder joint, persistent pain that intensifies with use, an inability to lift your arm over your head, or a tingling, burning sensation in the shoulder, elbow, or wrist, waiting to see a doctor could make your injury worse. Baptist Health and Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute have innovative and effective treatment options available right now to relieve your pain and restore your mobility. Don't wait. Call 904-JOI-2000.
Jaguars fans, here's a great way to pay with pride wherever you go. Exclusively from TIAA Bank, the Jacksonville Jaguars Visa debit card comes with a fierce look and fantastic features, along with the convenience to make purchases online or at millions of locations worldwide. And it's yours, free, when you open a Yield Pledge checking account. Order yours today. Visit TIAABank.com/JagsCard. TIAA Bank is a division of TIAA, FSB, member FDIC, and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Jacksonville Sports Talk for Jacksonville sports fans. 1010XL, home of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Jaguars Happy Hour continues Thursday afternoon. J.P. Shadrick with Jeff Lageman. Glad you're along with us. Joe Fortunato on the audio, Brent Reber on the video. We just went through the Tony Boselli Hall of Fame discussion. That will go on and on and on, rightly so. It's been a long time coming. But today, the Jaguars and head coach Doug Peterson announced the coaching staff for 2022. Let's start on the offensive staff, and it starts with offensive coordinator Press Taylor. He was with Doug Peterson up in Philadelphia in some lower-level coaching roles there. But now he's the offensive coordinator. Jim Bob Cooter is the passing game coordinator. Mike McCoy, the former Chargers head coach, is the quarterbacks coach. Phil Roscher is the offensive line coach. Wide receiver coach Chris Jackson. Tight end coach Richard Angulo. Running back coach is Bernie Parmalee, returns from last season. Andrew Briner is the assistant quarterbacks coach. Will Harriger is the offensive assistant. Assistant O-line coach Todd Washington returns. And Nick Williams, the offensive quality control coach. So,
yeah, and just to leave that list up just for a second, because a couple comments here. Press Taylor is the brother of Zach Taylor, the head coach of the Cincinnati Bengals.
That's right.
Jim Bob Cooter had a lot of respect in Detroit. He was a coordinator there with the Detroit Lions, I think, for a period of time. Mike McCoy, former head coach of the San Diego Chargers.
That's right.
Who was considered a brilliant offensive mind, which is one of the reasons why he got the job in San Diego. So I think that's a real strong hire to add an experienced offensive mind there. Richard Angulo played for the Jaguars as a tight end. Bernie Parmalee was the much-discussed positional coach from this past year under Urban Meyer's staff, and he was retained, which is, I think, is great because Bernie Parmalee is a great guy, and he was treated like garbage by the previous administration, in my opinion, just throwing that out there. And then Todd Washington has been here before as well, if it's the same Todd Washington that I'm thinking about, and he comes back, and Todd's a super guy. So a very strong offensive staff. A lot of offensive-minded head coaches can sometimes shy away from having strong names or strong personalities or people that have a lot of experience doing what he's done. So, but I like when you've got a guy like Jim Bob Cooter and Mike McCoy with Press Taylor and with, of course, the head coach, their offensive experience. All of that experience, I think, is nothing but a good thing for Trevor Lawrence in this offense.
Yeah, think about the quarterbacks those guys have been around. Taylor up in Philadelphia, of course, most notably. Jim Bob Cooter with Matt Stafford in Detroit. Excuse me, with Peyton Manning as well. Had some time in Denver with him. Mike McCoy, of course, with Phillip Rivers. I mean, so these guys have seen it at a very high level before. They know what it's supposed to look and feel like, and that hopefully can transfer over to Trevor.
Yeah, no, I think it's a real strong offensive staff. I mean, you've got some guys that have been to the mountaintop, so to speak. I think also with Press Taylor, he probably at some point, if this offense goes as you hope it goes, he could become the next hot offensive candidate, which that seems to be where these hot candidates are now coming from, is the offensive side of the ball.
You know what? That would be good news for the Jags. That means things are going very well on offense. If
exactly
the coaches are getting offers and opportunities elsewhere. Let's go to the defense now. And Mike Caldwell leads the way as the defensive coordinator. Coming up from Tampa, it's his first coordinator role. He's been an assistant for a long time in the league. Bob Sutton returns as the senior defensive assistant. Brenson Buckner is the defensive line coach. Bill Shuey, outside linebackers. Tony Gilbert gets the inside linebackers. He returns. Cody Grimm is the safeties coach. Secondary and cornerback coach is Deshae Townsend. He had a long playing career, most notably in Pittsburgh, and he went to Alabama Logs. Assistant D-line coach is Rory Segrist. And defensive quality control is Patrick Riley. But Caldwell gets his first coordinator role.
Well, and again, leave this list up of Caldwell, excellent player, very respected, had an assistant head coach position, I think, with the Jets, which shows you the level of respect that he has around the league for a head coach to name him in that position. That's outstanding. Bob Sutton, who was on the staff last year, is an absolute wealth of knowledge. He's been there. He's done that.
He's been in the game for, 40 years?
He's a guy that you can, when you've got a first-time defensive coordinator, that's the kind of guy that you'd like to keep on staff for a Mike Caldwell. Brenton Buckner, of course, was a really good football player, D-line coach. I like players that have played the position, coaching the positions that they played. Tony Gilbert, I think, has done a very good job here. He's retained. Cody Grimm, I believe, is the son of Russ Grimm, Hall of Fame, former member of the Redskins offensive line and the Hogs. Deshae Townsend, who has been a great former player and it's not Redskins anymore, it's the Washington football team. But when he played, it was the Redskins, okay? So for all you sensitive people out there, sorry, just suck it up. Deshae Townsend, who has been a great football player for many years, and I think it's a great hire there because he's been around the block, so to speak, as well. So I think I really like the combination on the defensive staff, and I'm glad they got experience to be with a first-time coordinator.
And just hearing from Doug Peterson at his press conference this past week, hey, defense are kind of on their own because Peterson's going to be calling the plays on offense. Yes, he'll have an oversight thing on defense, but it's Mike Caldwell's show over there on defense. And I'm curious tomorrow to see exactly what he puts out there of what they want to be on defense.
And that's I think that's the one. If you're looking at history about where you look at where he's been, okay, and most recently he's been with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they don't do a whole lot of exotic type of things. They rely on a four-man rush. So the real secret there is that if he's a coach, and I think that you have to be in today's day and age in the National Football League, you have to be able to adapt to your personnel. Because there's no Vita Veas on defense right now.
That's right.
Okay, there's no guy by the name of Sue, and there's not a guy on the outside that might be missing a finger, but he's one of the best pass rushers that there is. Okay, so my point being, and that you've got to be willing to be able to morph into what that defense needs. And I hope that Mike Caldwell is that. The inexperience, we don't know for sure if he is that. But I think with Bob Sutton there to help him and Mike Caldwell having a lot of experience around the National Football League, at some point you got to let a strong candidate, a guy that has a lot of respect around the league, finally drive the ship. And so I'm happy for him. Happy for him.
A couple of special teams coaches named as well, and special teams coordinator is Heath Farwell. He was 10 seasons he played in the NFL and was a special teams captain throughout his time with the Seahawks. Luke Thompson, the special teams assistant. Farwell, 40 years of age. He was a coordinator for the Bills the last 3 seasons in special teams, an assistant with the Seahawks in 16 and 17, the Panthers in 18, and now getting a second go-around as a coordinator in the NFL.
Yeah, so a great opportunity for him. And I think special teams coordinators are very unique in that they have to be able to draw upon some experience. And one of my favorite coordinators in the league is Brant Boyer, who was
you talk about him often, yes.
He was a special teams player here in Jacksonville and a really good special teams player, and he's been one of the better special teams coaches in the National Football League. And he's currently working with Robert Saleh with the New York Jets, and he was retained from the previous staff up there in New York because he's a player that's been there and done that. And so with Farwell having been there and done that, I like that. So a lot of former players on the staff.
Absolutely. There are guys that have played in the NFL and played for a good length of time in the NFL too, not just a cup of coffee.
I think that matters in a lot of cases because when a player learns that their coach played the game, I think that there is a certain level of respect that is afforded to them. But then after a while, you have the coach has to start giving you tools.
There better be some results
to be better and to help make those players better. Otherwise, that respect evaporates. So there has to be a give and take. And so, again, that respect will be given, but then it has to be continued to be earned. And I think that's the challenge with any coaches. But when there's a former player in that position, at least the initial respect happens.
It gets you in the door, but then you better start making that, hey, what can you do for me to make me a better player? That's really what it's about for a lot of guys.
Exactly. And when we heard this term last year with Urban Meyer, and not to bring him up, but he talked about helping players increase their value. And that's one way to put it. But the simpler way to put it is just how to help the players be better. Because when they're better, yes, it does increase their value. I don't like it from that standpoint because it's not a team-oriented comment. You want to make that player better so that the team can be better. That's the reason why you want to make that player better, not so that he can get a big, fat contract somewhere else next year. You want to make that player better so you can win. That's what this game is about, is winning. Well, I bet you didn't know that.
We've kind of lost sight of that, I think. But, yes.
Deep thoughts.
It's better to win than lose.
That's what you get when you listen to me, JP. Deep thoughts.
I've missed you for a couple weeks. It's good to have you back to keep us on track. We'll come back and hear from Jaguars head coach Doug Peterson about the Jaguars quarterback with a Hall of Fame quarterback on an interview earlier this week. And we'll go around the National Football League a little bit later. It's Jaguars Happy Hour on the Jaguars Digital Network.
Jaguars Happy Hour is brought to you by TIAA Bank. Turn potential into progress. And by Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Hi, I'm Tito Beverage, founder and master distiller at Tito's Handmade Vodka. In 1997, we became the first micro distillery in the state of Texas, and we're still making the same smooth stuff after all these years. We're still cooking in a pot still, working with our dogs by our sides, having fun and tasting batches, and I'm still wearing the same hat, even after all these years. Head over to Tito'sVodka.com to learn more about what else we're doing the same. Cheers. 80 proof Tito's Handmade Vodka, distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. Tito'sVodka.com.
Jaguars fans, here's a great way to pay with pride wherever you go. Exclusively from TIAA Bank, the Jacksonville Jaguars Visa debit card comes with a fierce look and fantastic features, along with the convenience to make purchases online or at millions of locations worldwide. And it's yours, free, when you open a Yield Pledge checking account. Order yours today. Visit TIAABank.com/JagsCard. TIAA Bank is a division of TIAA, FSB, member FDIC, and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Healthcare coverage for less? Yes. Now, because of the new healthcare stimulus, you can get better benefits, more coverage, and pay less with a Florida Blue plan. Claim your savings today. Visit floridablue.com/getcovered now. Policies have limitations and exclusions. If you already had health insurance in 2021, speak with an agent to find out how changing plans could impact your deductibles and out-of-pocket maximums. Florida Blue and Health Options Incorporated, DBA Florida Blue HMO, are independent licensees of the Blue Cross and Blue Shield Association.
At most sandwich places, asking for more of something is just part of the drill. But what if you never had to ask for more? What if more was just a given? At Daly's, more is what our sandwiches are built on. More meat, more cheese, more veggies, more quality, more taste. All for a price that's anything but more. Sandwiches from Dash, made fresh. Daly's.
Your family isn't like anyone else's. Your home shouldn't be either. At Dreamfinders Homes, you can build the home of your dreams in one of their 30-plus communities in Northeast Florida. Choose from luxury single-family homes or maintenance-free townhomes from the 200s. Dreamfinders specializes in homes built to fit your lifestyle. To find out more, call 904-738-0165 or visit dreamfindershomes.com.
In America, the future belongs to everyone. So we built the trucks of the future for everyone. Ford F-Series, America's best-selling trucks for 44 years straight. Built for performance and capability on and off-road. Because the trucks of the future aren't built for a few. They're built for America. Ford F-Series. Drive one today. Based on 1977 to 2020 calendar year total sales.
The station that the Jaguars listen to, 1010XL. Home of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Jaguars Happy Hour continues on a Thursday afternoon. Renew now, roar later. The time is now to renew your 2022 Jaguars season tickets. Season ticket members who renew by March 4th will also be entered to win one of 54 scratch packs with prizes, including signed merchandise, exclusive access to events at the bank, and even a trip to the 2022 NFL Draft in Las Vegas. Renew now at Jaguars.com. And welcome back. J.P. Shadrick with Jeff Lageman. Let's hear from Jaguars head coach Doug Peterson. He visited with his former teammate this week, Brett Favre. Brett Favre is a co-host. Favre is now a co-host on Sirius XM NFL radio. And Doug Peterson was a guest on the show this week, and Favre asked him about the quarterback so far.
You know, and that's the thing. As you talk to Trevor, he just wants to get better. He wants to win. He's a proven winner. He did throughout his days there at Clemson, and he's a tremendous leader. Inside the building with the football team, outside the building. And there's a lot of good things that he does that you can work with, and things that you can clean up and still want to maintain aggressiveness, still want to maintain athleticism. You don't want to change that stuff with him, but at the same time you want to teach him how to play quarterback in the National Football League, and obviously my experience watching guys like you, Brett, and just how you prepared yourself and how you led the football team. And obviously I spent time with Dan Marino, earlier in my career, and guys like that, and like yourself, that really have kind of shaped, and how we were coached too, our days in Green Bay with Mike Holmgren and, Mooch and, Marty Morningweg, Andy Reid, all those guys, how we were taught. And that's those same basic principles, hold true today. And that's why I'm excited to be able to work with Trevor and continue to watch his, success and growth in the NFL.
Obviously, around a number of different quarterbacks there. That's Doug Peterson on Sirius XM NFL Radio earlier this week. Brett Favre, a co-host of that show, who asked him the question we did not air there. But yeah, he was a backup under Dan Marino. He was a backup to Favre as a player. Two different type of kind of skill sets there. And then as he's gone on as a coach, you've seen him work with a number of different skill sets in the NFL too. And that's the ability to adjust to what the player can do, I think, will be big for Doug Peterson.
And with the two stints that he had with Green Bay and talking with Brett Favre there, did you hear some of the names that he threw out that were with that Green Bay staff?
Right.
Holmgren.
Oh, yeah. That was
Mooch, which is
Mariucci.
Steve Mariucci, Marty Morningweg, Andy Reid. I mean, all of these guys come from that tree of Mike Holmgren.
Yeah.
Tremendous offensive minds. And so a lot of times you sometimes just have to have good fortune and an opportunity to be able to spend time with people that you learn a lot from. And Doug Peterson certainly had that opportunity, not only learning from players but coaches as well. Players of the stature of Favre and Marino, but coaches that he had in Green Bay, coaches that he had in Miami, which, oh, by the way, Shula was pretty doggone good,
I'd say.
By the way.
Yes.
So a great opportunity that he had to learn from a lot of great minds.
Looking forward to hearing from Doug Peterson tomorrow. Jaguars head coach and the coordinators are scheduled to speak about 11 o'clock. The press conferences will be available on Jaguars.com. And I'm sure he's excited. Coaching staff, now that they're officially announced, they've been here for a little bit, a lot of these guys. Well, they're officially announced now. We're less than 2 weeks away from the Combine in Indianapolis.
That's crazy to think
right?
of, right? I mean, wow.
Super Bowl got moved back, so here you go. And then the off-season workout program for new coaching staffs starts April 4th. I mean, we're like a month and a half from the vets being able to come back and get in the weight room and do all that. And then you're already looking at free agency is mid-March. I mean, the league year starts March 16th. I mean, we're in it now.
Yeah, the off-season for the players – when we say the workouts start in first week of April, most of the players, the workouts don't ever stop.
Yeah, it's true.
For a lot of players have been, if they haven't had any type of surgical procedure, a lot of them are still rehabbing something that was not operated on and are doing some type of maintenance workout stuff. Some guys have already taken that time off and will take, let's say, a period of time, 2-3 weeks. When I was a younger player, I might only take 2 weeks off, but the older I got, sometimes it was even less than that. So you just didn't stop because you didn't want to lose what you had gained. So for the players, it's not like they're sitting around on the couch eating Cheetos in their underwear, okay, and drinking soda pop. Okay, they're working out and they're taking care of their diet.
Why did you look at me when you said that?
And I didn't look at you.
I think you did.
No,
you looked at me when you said Cheetos and soda pop on the couch. I don't know why. Passive-aggressive logs. I don't know what that's about.
No.
What are you trying to say? Is something wrong with that?
Sorry that you
I'm not an NFL player.
I'm sorry that you have a complex about that, but I was talking about NFL players eating Cheetos and
staring a hole through me.
But that's the one thing that's pretty cool too is that when the league year starts and the new coaches start, you get a little bit of a jump on the rest of the league, which I think is really good, because you want to be able to start and instill the new program, the new mindset, and so I like that, and I do hope we were talking earlier about the possibility of maybe getting the Hall of Fame game, and is it too much? And a lot of people say, well, is it too much? And I was joking around about having the extra preseason game, et cetera, the extra preparation. In today's day and age of the National Football League, with how limited it really has become, I think it would be a really good thing if this team were to get that opportunity. So you get the extra opportunity because you have a new coach to start earlier in the offseason. If you can get that opportunity to have that extra preseason game, I think that would also serve this team well. Not so much from getting the extra game standpoint, but you're getting the extra week of practice standpoint. That would be nice.
It would be. And, that game, let's be honest, the Hall of Fame game, you're not seeing frontline guys go in that game. Most every team, if they even travel those guys, they're in street clothes on the sideline. They're not going to touch the field in that
But it
game.
gives you that extra
week to prepare.
In a controlled environment to practice. And I like that aspect of it because you can say, okay, during the week leading up to the Hall of Fame, okay, we're going to allow our starters or our top couple guys on the positional depth chart to get a lot more work in practice leading up to the game. And then once we get to the game, okay, now we're going to look at some of the back end of the roster type of guys or the back end of the depth chart type of guys. So I'm okay with that. And a lot of people say, well, it doesn't make for watchable TV. I get it. I understand that part of it. It's incredibly hard to watch some of the early preseason games. But at the same token, when you're looking at it just from a preparation standpoint, trying to get ready from a season standpoint, I think it's very valuable.
I read an article today. Gil Hodges? Gil Hodges is the baseball player. Dallas Cowboys, long time.
Gil Brandt,
excuse me. Gil Hodges played for the Giants, I think, right?
Gil Brandt, Hall of Famer in his own right.
Gil Brandt, my apologies. Wrote an article today, NFL.com, about every team, what they should go after and what free agent they should have back. And his was Cam Robinson. I'm curious your take on this. The deadline to designate franchise players is March 8th. That's coming up relatively quick. He's eligible to be franchised again. I'm not sure exactly what the number would be. It would be more than last year. Or you obviously can make a deal and extend him and do all that. Would you do that? Are you confident in Walker Little? Do you even know yet? Has the staff been on site enough to really get to know the tape and know that? Where do you stand on Cam Robinson at the moment?
You got a little bit of time to evaluate that as a new coaching staff. For me, I've been watching Cam Robinson for many years, and I've been watching Jawan Taylor for quite a few years. For me, it's a no-brainer, is to make sure that you find a way to bring Cam Robinson back into the fold. And I've said this many times before. I think that Cam Robinson could be the best right tackle in football. Right tackle. Yes. And I'm not trying to but I can still pay him left tackle money and play him at right tackle. You got to make sure that the player is on board with something like that. And I'm not saying that Walker Little is better than Cam Robinson at left tackle. But here's the thing I think that you need to be realistic about. Right tackle has been your weakness out of the two tackle positions. So if you want to get better, then you find a way to make those positions competitive. If getting the best two guys on the field is making a move with Cam going to right, Walker Little going to left, or Cam being at left, Walker Little going to right, however that works, however they view the best combination as being, but you got to create competition to achieve a higher level of performance. And Jawan has not, in my opinion, gotten better a lot since his rookie year.
About this, Gil Brandt added this statistic into his argument for Cam Robinson today. He had the best pass blocking grade from Pro Football Focus of any Jaguar last season, 1 sack in 539 snaps, Cam Robinson.
It's impressive.
And, if you franchise him and do all that, then you're going to move, $15 million, I'm just throwing a number out there, to right tackle. And then.
Well, it's going to be more than $15 million.
And if he's not as strong at right as he is at left, are you, in theory, weakening two positions that way?
Well,
or is whatever you get out of him at right better than what you had, and you're okay with that?
The reason I say that moving him to right tackle would, in my mind, I think be a great situation is that I think Cam Robinson is an incredibly dominant run blocker. He finishes really well. He plays the game with great lean. Not many offensive line. Jawan Taylor does at times, but the consistency is not there. The finish by Juwan hasn't been there enough. And with Cam, you're talking about another incredibly big body. Look, and you need to try to find a running game to support a young developing quarterback. The better that you can make it, the better this football team will be. So, and look, I understand. Look, he's a left tackle. You know, well, you'd be paying him a left tackle money to play right tackle. I don't care. I've got a left tackle on a rookie contract who makes it okay to maybe overpay a guy that would be playing right tackle. But for all of that to work, you have to have the player on board with it. If the player doesn't want to play, you know, if a guy who typically plays left guard doesn't want to move to right guard, and he's not going to be on board with it, it's not going to be a happy player.
No.
So you have to be able to have a happy player. And I think that's what great leadership and great coaching can do, is to sometimes have players do things maybe that they ordinarily didn't want to do, but for the betterment of the team, and then maybe in the long run for the betterment of them, it might be good for them in the long run as well.
We'll hear during, I'm sure, the NFL Scouting Combine from Doug Peterson, Trent Baalke scheduled to speak as well, general manager, about that and many more Jaguars topics. I believe that'll be the next time Trent Baalke is scheduled to speak to the public. And then Doug Peterson tomorrow will talk about the coaches, but I don't know if they'll get that deep into something like this tomorrow. But
no,
that's coming up March 1st, 2nd, 3rd from Indianapolis, and that'll be the big storyline because, as we said, the 8th, that's the Tuesday, and that's 2 weeks away from this coming Tuesday is the deadline.
Well, I think that will be a topic. I also think that the situation with the executive vice president will also be a question
that was my next.
May or may not be resolved at that point. But I think that that's something that is certainly maybe the number one story now that the coaching staff has been filled out. So after tomorrow with the press conferences with the coordinators, then I think that's going to be the main story to watch. The Cam Robinson thing is certainly near the top, but I think the EVP situation will be at the top.
I like it. That's a lot going on in the next few weeks ahead. We're back in a moment. We'll look around the National Football League. Final look at Super Bowl 56. Turned out to be a really good game. At the end, the refs got involved, but that's happens from time to time. The Rams are Super Bowl champions. We'll take a look at some other news from around the NFL. This is Jaguars Happy Hour on the Jaguars Digital Network.
Hi, I'm Tito Beverage, founder and master distiller at Tito's Handmade Vodka. In 1997, we became the first micro distillery in the state of Texas, and we're still making the same smooth stuff after all these years. We're still cooking in a pot still, working with our dogs by our sides, having fun and tasting batches, and I'm still wearing the same hat even after all these years. Head over to Tito'sVodka.com to learn more about what else we're doing the same. Cheers. 80 proof Tito's Handmade Vodka, distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. Tito'sVodka.com.
Jaguars fans, here's a great way to pay with pride wherever you go. Exclusively from TIAA Bank, the Jacksonville Jaguars Visa debit card comes with a fierce look and fantastic features, along with the convenience to make purchases online or at millions of locations worldwide. And it's yours, free, when you open a Yield Pledge checking account. Order yours today. Visit TIAABank.com/JagsCard. TIAA Bank is a division of TIAA, FSB, member FDIC, and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
In America, the future belongs to everyone. So we built the trucks of the future for everyone. Ford F-Series, America's best-selling trucks for 44 years straight. Built for performance and capability on and off-road. Because the trucks of the future aren't built for a few. They're built for America. Ford F-Series. Drive one today. Based on 1977 to 2020 calendar year total sales.
It's a force that can't be contained. Propelled by purpose, pride, and the power to protect. When winning isn't just the mission, it's your passion. You pursue it. You make power plays. You pick your team. At Farrah & Farrah, we deliver game day energy 24/7. Jacksonville.
Are you suffering from shoulder pain? If you have clicking and popping in the shoulder joint, persistent pain that intensifies with use, an inability to lift your arm over your head, or a tingling, burning sensation in the shoulder, elbow, or wrist, Waiting to see a doctor could make your injury worse. Baptist Health and Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute have innovative and effective treatment options available right now to relieve your pain and restore your mobility. Don't wait. Call 904-JOI-2000.
Your family isn't like anyone else's. Your home shouldn't be either. At Dreamfinders Homes, you can build the home of your dreams in one of their 30-plus communities in Northeast Florida. Choose from luxury single-family homes or maintenance-free townhomes from the 200s. Dreamfinders specializes in homes built to fit your lifestyle. To find out more, call 904-738-0165 or visit dreamfindershomes.com.
Mike Dempsey and Fat Tony. Jaguars Today. All Jaguars, all NFL, all the time. 10 to noon weekdays on 1010XL.
Jaguars Happy Hour coming down the home stretch, and if you're watching on Jaguars.com and Jag social media, thank you, first of all. Second, you're looking at the footprint of the new Jaguars Football Performance Center on the practice fields. So they've chopped up one field. They're moving some dirt around with equipment, and that dirt part on the right is the footprint of the building itself. That will be exciting. So it'll be open for training camp of 2023. We've got a little while to go, but they've fenced off the area around. They're starting to move dirt. They're doing things, which is great. That's a good start.
I think they started construction on that literally the day after the last game here at the stadium.
They were putting up fencing for the construction area the day after and brought in the mobile offices for the construction company.
Yeah, it was wasting no time, to say the least.
No day wasted there. That's, of course, the start of that. Hopefully that'll stay on track. And, of course, groundbreaking on the shipyards expected maybe mid-year, official groundbreaking there. The Fire Museum I saw today is up on a lift right now. I drove by there on Gator Boulevard. It's like lifted up. I don't know where they're moving it or how or what, but
that's
it's
a
all
tall building, right?
It's all brick and mortar, and but I could see underneath the building.
How they can do that is really incredible. I mean, it's an architectural feat that they can actually take a building or a house and pick it up and move it to another location and then reset it down and then have it still be structurally strong and the integrity not be lacking in any way whatsoever. How do they do that? I don't know.
Didn't they do that to the church over here by the baseball grounds when they moved that in? I think it was the same thing, right, when the ballpark opened and all that, because that was just a block.
I don't remember. Gosh, it was so long ago
that
they
while.
did that. Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah, maybe they did. It's pretty wild how they do that. I mean, that's and how they can move. You sit there and you look at like some of the shipyards. Actually, you're not the shipyards project that we're talking about for the development, but you go out towards like Blunt Island. Oh yeah, and then you see these big giant things that are taking containers off of ships and things, and how big they are, and they just sit there and they creep along. And you sit there and go, how do they do that? Anyway, it's just amazing to me how they can take giant structures and just pick them up and move them like it's an apple on a table. Let me just move it over here.
How about that?
Crazy stuff. But looking forward to the new complex. And
I think we all are.
And it's going to be interesting to see how they because the practice fields are over there and they are disturbed somewhat because you had 3 full grass practice fields. So will the grass fields that are there still remain undisturbed enough to where until this opens up, you can still use those practice fields, or will they have to utilize the field inside the stadium?
Game field. They have the indoor over here at Daly's Place, obviously.
Yeah, but you don't want to live in the indoor facility. It's not big enough.
You can go back and forth.
Yeah, the indoor facility, I'm sorry, but it wasn't built to be big enough, in my opinion. That should be –
The training camp's the next question. Like, what happens with that?
Well, training camp, I mean, they're saying they're ready to be rocking and rolling by training camp.
This coming year?
Oh, yeah.
On the fields, just the fields, but no building.
No, I thought
No, 2023 is when that opens, not 2022.
Yeah, but the fields will be ready to rock and roll.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Oh, yeah.
I think they got to figure out some plans.
Okay.
So I think we'll see.
Be interesting to watch.
I think so. It is.
Hey, look, better have some fields that you can practice with.
Yeah. I agree. We're going to go in the parking lot? I mean, what is this? It's like Junction, Texas? We're going to the desert?
Have you ever played a little bit of pickup football in a parking lot before?
I have, yes.
It's not very good.
You might want to stay upright on that one. You don't want to get tackled.
It's not good. And go down to the car and turn right, on the pass pattern. That's not a good option route.
Let's go around the National Football League. Recap of Super Bowl 56. The Rams over the Bengals 23-20. There was talk after the game that Sean McVay could retire from coaching after leading the Rams to the championship. McVay said, at least he might have had a few on the stage the other day, that he plans to run it back. And his fiancée posted a picture of McVay, captioned it, "No, he is not retiring." There was talk maybe he could go into TV and get double the money.
Well, he's first of all, he's very entertaining. He's a great leader. He's an excellent coach. Congratulations to him and his football team. Les Snead, who was with the Jaguars going all the way back to '95, who I knew Les very well, and I thought they were crazy trading away all those draft picks, but they made it work. Okay, and Les Snead's sporting that shirt.
It's fantastic.
That's
funny. That's really funny.
That was implying a curse word.
You're right. Good stuff there. But it worked out for them now. Long run, who knows? But they're winning right now.
If I'm Andrew Whitworth and I'm a left tackle at 40 years old, and I know all this talk about McVay maybe retiring and Aaron Donald retiring. Look, those guys are still young. They're still in the prime of their careers. No, it's not time for them to retire. Andrew Whitworth, though, if he walked away from the game today, what would be wrong with that? You're a 40-year-old left tackle.
I think he said he's about done. So
I mean
and his speech. Yeah. I don't know if you saw his speech on the stage yesterday. I did. He said, "Hey, 5 years ago, a lot of people counted me out, said my career is over, but I bet on myself, and this team took a chance on me, and I'm here at 40 years old holding the Lombardi Trophy. So bet on yourself," he said. That was his message the other day.
Yeah, well, he's been a really good left tackle, and could he play again? Absolutely, he could. He's still a good player. He's not a liability in any way, and he's tough as nails. And he's not a Hall of Fame type player, but he's a really good player.
Played for a long time.
One of those guys like Mike Ken, who played a long, illustrious career for the Atlanta Falcons. And by the way, anybody who thinks that Matthew Stafford is a Hall of Famer after this game, they're crazy.
What if he wins another one?
Then you can start talking a little bit about possibilities. But right now, no. Really good player, but no.
Considering where he was for all of his career?
No. He's not. He's not.
Just ask. Hey, we can have this discussion in Canton in August, too.
Look, there was a couple years ago, we're watching Matthew Stafford going, what's wrong with him? Okay, so sometimes it's not always about those that are around you. Sometimes it's about you.
You point the finger at somebody, 3 fingers come pointing back towards you at the same time.
Well, if you're on offense, 10 of them could be pointing back at you.
That's a good point.
If you're the quarterback pointing fingers, okay.
Dante Fowler, cut by the Falcons. 1 year remained on his contract. He took a pay cut last year as part of a reconfigured contract and did not hit any incentives in the deal. He played 14 games, 6 starts, only had 4.5 sacks. He had $1 million bonus starting at 5 sacks. He was a half sack away from $1 million. The Falcons were last in the league in sacks, only 18 as a team, and Fowler led the team. There you go, Dante Fowler on the street now.
Well, he gets a little head start on free agency, and I think part of the problem that why Dante hasn't been able to stick in one place, first of all, when he was with the Rams, he was playing alongside Aaron Donald.
That helps.
And by the way, that helps. But the consistency in his performance hasn't always been there, and that's something that is, I think, of concern to some people. He was and is an incredible athlete, one of the most gifted athletes I've ever seen. But the productivity hasn't been consistent enough with Dante Fowler, and another high Jaguars draft pick that wasn't able to contribute to this organization, and that's the disappointing part when you talk about Dante Fowler.
One on a long list of former first-round
Well, you just
picks.
want to start having draft picks that stay here for a long period of time and that are really good football players and that do a lot of winning.
It would be nice. Good to see you, Logs.
For it. Good to be seen.
We'll talk to you next week. Joe Fortunato, Brent Reber, our entire crew. For Jeff Lageman, I'm J.P. Shadrick. This is Jaguars Happy Hour on the Jaguars Digital Network.